Good afternoon, Arnaldo Rodriguez, President of CSI Leasing, coming to us from Barcelona, Spain. How are you, Arnaldo?
Doing good, doing great.
Excellent. Well, Arnaldo, you're on Leasing Avenues, and we're doing various video segments with you. So behind the scenes, we'll see different attire and different locales behind you and me. So now we're in different cities than maybe some of the next segments we're going to film. But Arnaldo is known as one of the most, I think, creative individuals in the industry. He is always, if everybody knows him, is probably one of the most important people from international leasing. He's got the best attitude. He is when he walks in a room, he lights up a room, and everybody knows Arnaldo for his trademark laugh. He's got the best laugh in the whole leasing industry. So Arnaldo, welcome, and I'd like to kind of really start off initially, just have you explain how you got into the industry.
Well, first, thank you for that fantastic introduction. You're no slouch either, by the way.
I'm no
But
Arnaldo Rodriguez, though.
I appreciate that. So after university, I went into the banking industry, and I was at Swiss Bancorp in the lease finance group. And after about 5 years there, the bank decided to get out of the leasing business and focus on investment banking and other things. And so I had to find something else to do. Actually, at the time, it was a blessing in disguise because it was during the time of the NAFTA situation, and I was already working with accounts who were financing transactions in Mexico, in Latin America, in Europe. And I went to one of my accounts and I told them, hey, I can help you in Mexico, I can help you in Latin America, but beyond
And
just
that was El
finance.
Camino, correct?
Yes, that
Okay,
was El
got it.
Camino. And so I told him, I said, beyond just financing transactions in Latin America, you should actually think about starting a business there because there really aren't any companies doing exactly what you do at this time. I mean, there are some foreign players, but they're completely different. So if you start now, you'll have early mover advantages. They like what I had to say. Eventually, they supported me, and we started the business. I was quickly hiring talent and putting facilities in place. And shortly thereafter, we had the tequila crisis, where the peso devalued like 50%. We had like five Mexican banks fail, and some of the local players were experiencing serious losses. And I thought that was a disaster because I had just been working on putting all these facilities in place and hiring these people. But actually, that was excellent timing for us because we were able to pursue top quality names in Mexico, multinationals, and that went really well for us. Actually, after a while, I was a little concerned that it was going so well. I was thinking, well, if this is so good, why isn't someone else doing it? Uh,
That's a little
and
disconcerting.
then, yeah, yeah. And then after about 5 years of that, there were a confluence of events where I pretty much decided that it was better to put a business plan together and find an investor to relaunch the business. So I was able to. So I started calling investors. One of the investors I called was Kenny Steinbach. Kenny, great guy, Kenny. He
CSI
knew,
Leasing, right?
yeah, from CSI. He was the founder of CSI Leasing. He knew who El Camino was. He heard of us. He invited us to St. Louis. So I met with him. I met with Bill Galula, Steve Hamilton. These guys were great. They understood the value proposition. They stood up. They stepped up very quickly and supported us. And I was able to bring over like 20 of the best people that I ever worked with in Latin America, some of the best talent. And we were able to get started relatively quickly in a very seamless situation with a lot of the accounts that we were working with. A little bit more difficult the second time around, but it was a very successful experience for us.
I've heard the story numerous times now, but coming from you directly, I mean, I kind of heard tangentially how it all happened, but that is incredibly interesting. But again, it seems to me, and it seems to be a theory about you anyway, and it's true, is that every time Arnaldo has an issue or there's a problem, you always see an opportunity. So there is no problems for there's no there's no problems. There's only opportunities. Correct?
Yes,
Excellent.
absolutely.
Well, good. So real quickly, how many countries are you in right now?
36 countries.
All beginning
12
starting
of
in
which are
Mexico.
Latin America.
12 in Latin America.
Yes.
Okay. So starting.
I mean, we're the largest independent in Latin America by far.
Okay. And so 12 in Latin America. You got Europe, and you have.
Europe, Asia. I mean, we're in the five main markets in Europe: UK, France, Germany, Spain, Italy. We're in some parts of Eastern Europe: Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and then in Asia, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Singapore, and via our parent, we can service, of course, Japan,
Century
the
Tokyo,
Philippines.
right?
Yeah, yeah, Tokyo Century, absolutely.
Right.
And Tokyo Century is their largest shareholder is Mizuho, which has 35%, and Itochu 25%. And through their joint ventures, we're servicing markets like Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia.
Got it. Fascinating. Well, the next segment we're going to get into is really the state of the fair market value leasing business in Mexico, and we'll get to that next.